All right, welcome back. We are here live with Louis Kaplan playing Landstill against Caleb Durward with Aluren in the quarterfinals of one of the best tournaments there's ever been. The Misty Mountain Premodern constructed Bucked. This is fantastic. We got Michael in the booth with us, the creator and innovator, the Cloudgo Ranger himself. What up?
Yeah, I was kind of tempted to show a different match because we have seen a lot of Landstill today on coverage, and we've seen both Caleb and Louis. But I mean, when these two players are up against each other, I think the names speak for itself. I'm sure everyone knows Caleb, popular streamer and competitive player, but Louis is like the local grinder, and so like when I think of like the Madison area, like end boss, that's Louis. So
yeah, we call him Papa Bear, Big Papa Bear, Louis Kaplan.
Yes, so definitely no surprise that either of these players are in the top 8 of this tournament, and I'm really excited to see how they navigate through situations. And this matchup does kind of lead itself like that. There is a little bit of play. Anytime you play against Landstill, the games are long. So
right.
So usually, if your deck has the ability, you can kind of try and put yourself in certain positions. And I think good players are really fun to watch when they have those type of decks and matchups.
That's right. That's a great point. Yeah, this is not going to be just a one and done turn. There are turn 2 combo kills in this top 8. This will not be that. There'll be a lot of interaction, a great match. And I'm going to say I think Louis is quite advantaged in this matchup. Obviously, they're both great players, but all things being equal, Landstill's really good against Aluren, huh?
Yeah, the one problematic card is Cabal Therapy because so Louis's counterspell is like all cost like 1 and 2 mana, and with Caleb's ability to cast like multiple Cabal Therapies for only like potentially 1 mana, because one for the front half and sacrificing a creature would be no mana. That can cause a lot of problems for the Landstill deck. So I think that will be the key card from Caleb. But other than that, yeah, I think anytime you have counterspells against a combo deck, it's pretty difficult. I'm going to make sure that the players are aware that they can start.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of conversation going on. There's a lot of table tapping, a lot of yapping. Not sure exactly what's happening, but I assume they're discussing some complicated... Oh, nope, they're getting started. Okay. And also, shout out to those beautiful double dragon sleeves. Whatever Caleb's rocking, I'm socking. Those are fantastic. Do we have a top 8? What are the decks? Yeah, we do have a top 8. We discussed that before. Hey, what up, Ankylosaur? Welcome. If you have not followed Mike yet, follow Cloudgo Ranger. The Cloudgo Ranger stream that you're watching right now is absolutely fantastic. If you like my content, you're going to love this guy's stuff. And shout out to him for having me on here. We're going to pull up some cards right quick so we know what's popping.
Yeah, Living Wish is being cast from Caleb. So.
Caleb cast a Living Wish, another OG favorite. Now this allows you to grab a creature or land card you own from outside the game, reveal that card, and put it into your hand. Pretty dope when you have a lot of bullets in the sideboard. What is he looking for here?
Yeah. So a lot of times, the way that the Aluren's deck is set up is it's kind of, once you get Aluren in play, there is multiple creatures that can interact well with it. So a lot of the times, Caleb has like 3 of a copy of 1 card in his deck, and then 1 in the sideboard. So like here we see him getting the Raven Familiar, and that a lot of times it's just dependent on what cards are in your hand. It's not like you're always going to get the same card from the sideboard. It just depends on which copy you've drawn. If you've drawn the Cavern Harpy, then you get the Raven Familiar, or maybe vice versa. So.
And remember, there are no Thraben Inspectors in this format, so you're kind of flying without a pilot. But yes, very good. Thank you, B-Raz, for the sub. Appreciate you. Another great Madison player. There's the Raven Familiar. It does so much and asks so little. It's one of the fantastic early ETB cards. It gives a little mini impulse, and this was really representing a time in Magic's history when it was like spells attached to creatures. So it's like, how much for 1/2 flyer? I don't know, like 2 mana, make it echo, like get a card in your hand. I don't know. Oh, we have Pernicious Deed. Yeah. Well, that is arguably one of the best cards in this format, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a draw to play like the black and green spells, though. Like, it's maybe not at its best against the Landstill deck, especially at least like what Caleb's trying to do. It's usually better from Caleb's perspective when he'd like to reset the board, so it buys him a little bit more time.
But it does allow for an out against Humility.
Yes.
It's good against Landstill, and it also just kind of prevents him. Like, this is playing Caleb's game. He has creatures. The deck that Caleb's rocking does not have to simply, pop off to really get its top off. It can do, incremental damage, incremental advantage with its creatures, and some disruption, as we're seeing here with cards like Pernicious Deed, Cabal Therapy, etc. And it can completely shift focus. So, you can't really... you sometimes there's decks where you go over, you go under, you go around, and sometimes you just have to go right through. And that's what we're seeing here. Okay, so what does he name with Cabal Therapy? We did not write it on the little cards you put by there.
No. I think they also have it. They don't have any way to keep track of life, so I'll do my best to keep track. But this is kind of one of those matchups where like.
Yeah, you don't have to.
The life total kind of doesn't matter because it's. I guess Lewis's life total does, but Caleb's in general doesn't.
So he did not name... We know what he didn't name. What do we think he named?
I don't know.
Nixie, Veteran Explorer. Okay, there's a 1/1 for 1 that's a lot of fun. And it draws the Counterspell. That is a... That's another important piece of this, is anything that seems like it's... what's that? Anything that seems symmetrical is not actually symmetrical. So a card that says both players do this, both players do that, if you're playing it, that's not how you're playing it. And obviously with Cabal Therapy, Veteran Explorer is just a house. So fantastic card. What do you think? This is the right play to counter here, hey?
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of worried, like, anytime that Raven Familiar replaces itself, and so that, like, if it is sticking in play, then it would present itself that later in the game that it, like, a Cavern Harpy might pick it up, or and then basically it replaces itself because Lewis is looking to say, like, how is this card advantage going to happen?
Oh, snap. And there's another Raven Familiar, and there's no Counterspell this time. So that is going to be a problem because, again, it's just incremental beatdown, which is all you need. You don't need to be putting a lot of pressure on, and you're getting a dope card. You get a mini Impulse, and there are opportunities for Raven being useful later, such as Cabal Therapy, such as the Strix, etc. Again, Aluren does not need Aluren to go off, and this is exactly the type of game you want to be playing against Landstill. Oh, but Lewis is on the beatdown.
Yeah, Mishra's Factory getting in there. So.
And by the way, one of the beautiful seasonal Mishra's Factory. You want to give a little story behind that? You know about that?
Lewis is borrowing my deck. So.
Okay.
But, I don't know if that's what you're aiming at. But
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that was a funny coincidence.
Yeah,
but.
Lewis was looking to play something, and he did like where blue-white seemed positioned. So
see, that's exactly what I said, right? It's that the Pernicious Deed is really good against preventing humility, but he drew it after Caleb saw the hand. So now the question is, does the layering work with the one was it echoing?
I don't know the answer to
We
this.
need a judge. Judge.
It's like, this is one of the things like
Chad, we need a judge.
I joked about with the judge of like what percentage of his judge calls are humility and like,
right.
I mean,
what's the over under on that?
Yeah, so,
right.
I mean, I think he said he's had 4 or 5 already today.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, like these are one of the things
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it does not pay
I think
echo.
it does. I think you do.
say it does. Okay.
I'm not sure though. These are the type of rules that I'm not very good at. More than like the tournament ruling and procedurals. Like when someone makes an error, I'm a little bit better at that handling those. But like,
this is to be fair. This is the most complicated. Layers are the most complicated part of Magic rules, or one of the top.
This not only is this the most complicated card in Premodern, it might just be like the most like confusing rule card in Magic. Like,
it looks so simple.
Yes.
It just says each creature lose all abilities and become a 1/1 creature. That's all. But actually,
well, I guess if
okay, so Echo. Oh wait. Oh, so there's a Wrath. Okay. Oh my. That's an Aluren, which gets a lot worse with humility.
Yeah, that is something to point out. And so
okay, there's a 1/1 for 0. Oh, another 1/1. All right, got plenty of 1/1s. All right, 3 1/1s. Let's go. Time for the beatdown. Let's go. Well, good on Caleb to get the Aluren down. Might have drawn out a Counterspell, and you'd not do nothing with those creatures no way. So, okay. Lewis probably not sure why he pointed at humility. Might be taunting him.
Well, Caleb might have said like attack for 5, and then Lewis is like, wait. There's still 1/1s. So.
So that is.
Right, we're getting our life total.
Okay. One of the 1/1 gets swords. The other 1/1s get through. So Caleb.
Yeah, I was like
the beatdown is Okay, so Louis, what's he looking for? We need a manland here. And remember, there's no 4/4 flyers. There, we're talking the old school manlands.
Yeah, the
Is this rocking the 1/5?
No, it's not in this list. He's got a Faerie Conclave for Mishra's Factory, and then the Decree of Justice is probably the card that he's looking for.
The beatdown birds. All right, Caleb's on the offensive. Let's go.
Well,
4 damage in.
Lewis is already down to 5.
Oh my!
So,
Louis is in trouble. Make it double. That is bonkers. Sometimes 4/1/1s is all you need, homie.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, Humility is kind of helping him in a sense that Birds of Paradise is able to attack for damage.
That's right, and also the Harpies didn't have to bounce stuff, so they could come into play. All right, we're down. Ooh, we're half a card off the top. Oh my, what a top deck. Let's go. Reset. Does Caleb have any gas left? Are there any creatures left in hand? Instant speed, free, mana. Can he do it?
It's kind of an interesting situation with Lewis at such a low life total. Like, any creature is kind of a threat because it can be deployed end of turn because of Aluren.
That's
so
right.
There's, like, Lewis is on a very tight line. Like, in some situations you'd be like, yeah, this is great, but Aluren kind of throws a wrench in Lewis's plans.
And there's a weird interaction with the manlands. Humility does not actually change them. For why, I cannot say, but the 2/1 is a 2/1. So now Louis has the pressure. We've flipped the script, but Caleb does have a deck full of threats. A critical mass of threats are left in his deck, and remember, they don't even got to combo with each other. You don't even got to go off. Louis is at 2, so again, that makes the fetch lands worse. We're pretty close, but Louis is also almost turning the corner with that standstill. Once he's able to draw a bunch of cards, get some counters, and also. With Standstill, remember, the cards drawn are before the spell resolves.
Yes.
So he has the opportunity to counter stuff still, if need be, when that pops. Now, they're going back and forth. Caleb is probably trying to assemble a critical mass of threats, right? So he can come back and attack.
Yeah, I think that's the best way. Like, instead of just cracking the Standstill and trying to put a 1/1 into play, he's going to try and find a position. I mean, he could draw multiple creatures or maybe find a card like Cabal Therapy and try and kind of clear a path that way, and then try and just get in for these last 2 points of damage.
And now that, right, exactly, now that Louis drew the Swords to Plowshares, his 2/1 also, because of how weird Humility works with it, that can gain him 2 life. Mm-hmm. So we're in a situation now where he's got an insurance policy. It's now Louis is favored to win. I wish, you remember when they had like the
advantage bar?
The advantage bar Louis.
Okay.
I would say Louis is, at this point, I would say between 40 and 97% to win. Somewhere in that range.
I guess that's probably true.
Yeah. Or possibly between 15 and 97%. Somewhere around there.
Maybe not the most helpful range, but it's probably true.
Well, this is tough, and Caleb's flooding out a little bit. I'm not sure how much lands does Aluren run. 22?
They're usually on the lower count, especially when you play like Veteran Explorer.
That's right.
You kind of feel like that is almost like a mana source.
And it is, because of the atrocious nature of the land, the Gemstone Mine is... Oh my, it's just doing his thing. Okay, so we're beaten down. Louis has got a handful of counters. He's got Impulse. Oh, this is tough. This is tough to watch. And once that Standstill gets cracked again, he gets to draw the cards immediately. Another land for Caleb. Come on.
Yeah, the
so
interesting
close.
thing is Louis has a lot of mana leaks in his hand, and definitely mana leaks not at its best in the situation when Caleb has so many lands. But when you're able to... You might be spending 2 or 3 mana leaks just to counter one spell in these situations. And I guess also Aluren, you don't have to pay the mana for the creature, so Caleb's going to have access to a lot of mana to pay for mana leaks.
That's
right. It looks like, because he has, I think it's 10 mana right now, so I guess mana leak's not very good in this
Well,
spot.
he needs 4.
Yeah.
He's just going to put together 4 mana leaks.
He could draw the 4th. Oh, does he actually have the 4th?
What did the Mishras attack? Mishra's got pwned by Pernicious Steed, and that was the turn, because Caleb did not know that Louis top decked the Humility, which is maybe what the Pernicious Steed was around for, but he aggressively took it out, maybe wanted to stall the land, maybe just wanted to take the pressure off the table. But Humility is just the card. Hey, what up? Welcome. Bateva, or what's it? I don't know what the Argentinian greeting is for Magic. What's the Argentinian greeting for Premodern?
I do not know.
Not sure of that one, but welcome. Happy to have you, and thanks for tuning in. This is international and quite rational, one of the best formats of all time. Old school players will tickle that itch, and new school players you can pitch to. Oh my, what's happening here?
Fact or fiction is...
Hachi-machi.
So Caleb's going to break the Standstill for Louis. And now we got a split. So Louis is letting this resolve. I guess I would.
Oof, that's aggressive. I don't know about letting that resolve, but if he's cracking it, it means he's probably got a handful of threats.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to worry about here. So he's got 2 1/1s and instant speed for free and the Cabal Therapy. This is a dangerous situation for Louis for multiple reasons. First of all, you're... what do you go here? You got to split it 2-1. You got actually, because the Cabal Therapy comes back. That's the problem.
It's kind of like a card either pile that it's in.
Right.
Okay, so Caleb takes Birds of Paradise and Cabal Therapy.
Right.
So he has 2 bites of the apple with the Cabal Therapy.
Oh, here we
go.
go.
I think that's what he's looking to do.
We got the greeting. You got that?
Hola a todos los primadonos.
That makes sense. Yeah, hola indeed. Indeed. Oh! Is that a stroke of genius?
Yes, it is. So okay, so typically this is in the deck because when you like do a combo, you can get infinite mana. So it's typically like a card that you look to like just kill your opponent with.
That's
here
amazing.
We're just casting it for value. Unfortunately, Mana Leak is good against Stroke of Genius.
Yep. That does not come free with Aluren. That X spell is full cost. Okay, so we got a game here. Caleb again has free 1/1 creatures at instant speed. Louis is at 2. But remember, Louis also just got a grip full of new cards. He's got Wrath, he's got Swords, he's got a 2/1 he can Swords if need be. He's still got some counter magic left. And now the Cabal Rituals start coming. We're going to rip up that hand. Let's go.
Yeah, I think Louis really looking for a Decree of Justice. Is that he has one, right? So at this point, I think he wants to deploy it for as much as he can to really put that pressure on Caleb.
That's right.
Because he does have a limited amount of counter magic, and so especially if he's anticipating a Cabal Therapy coming.
What is happening here?
So Cabal Therapy is on the stack. I think you need to cycle Decree in response, which is, I guess, problematic because then you're tapped out. Then you might fear something coming from Caleb.
But don't you cycle? Why not crack the fetch there?
I think he's just valuing his life total that like
over a creature that can block.
Yeah.
Oh, because he's got Wrath. That's right. Okay. Fair enough. Fair. Yes, that makes sense.
So this is just for 4. He's going to get 4 tokens.
Can we pull up Decree?
Yeah.
So for those of you who aren't aware, this is one of the staples of the Landstill deck, and also because of cycling gets around Standstill.
Yep. And it kind of just plays into what Standstill's trying to do, that like playing draw go is really good, hitting all your land drops, and then like having Standstill in play, like Decree of Justice works really well. That like all those things it naturally does, and it does a really good job of like buying you some time if you just need to block a couple creatures, but it's just a great way to close out of the game for the blue-white deck.
And it does have an alternate casting cost of 2 white XX, where if you need be, you can make some angels, which is also nice.
In this spot, I don't think I'd be making angels.
That's right.
They're still going to be 1/1s, but yes, I have actually cast Decree of Justice like surprisingly a lot more than I thought when I played this deck.
That's right. So we've got a pretty strong hand. We do have the Dismantling Blow, one of my favorite. Actually, that was one of the first cards I put in my cube. Let's pull that up. That's a Disenchant with some extra.
Yeah, who doesn't like value?
Who doesn't like value? That's right. It's basically a 6 mana, 3 for 1. So it's got an alternate casting cost for 2 white, but its natural casting cost is 4 white blue. It's a Azurius, destroy target artifact or enchantment, draw 2 cards, instant speed, fantastic. And again, for all you OG players like me, for all the other boomers, this just tickles your fancy. It's so good, so fun, and it does, provide an answer to Aluren. But again, is there time? That Cabal Therapy is revealing Louis's plan. It's opening his hand, and there might be a situation where Caleb's just going to be able to flash it back and then attack. Yeah, I got to grab the second Decree.
It'll be interesting if Louis does choose to prioritize like getting rid of that Aluren, just so he can kind of feel a little bit safer on his turns, because the looming threat of multiple creatures coming down at the end of Louis's turn and then Caleb attacking for the win, I think, is probably on Louis's mind.
That's right. And also, Caleb being at a healthy 11, oof, oh my, that is a harsh Decree indeed. So that Decree no longer cares about humility, but for 0 mana can wipe the tokens at any time. I think Decree is one of the best cards in the form. Oh!
Pernicious Deed, yeah.
What happened? What? He cracked it for 4?
Like he's trying to get rid of the humility, I guess. So I guess.
Well, Omens can't even attack now.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe Caleb has different plans that he is looking more for a combo kill, or a card like, I don't know if he's just trying to play like a normal creature that he has in his hand and just attack.
Fascinating. Well, if it's Caleb Durward, you know it's correct. This is a fascinating play. We don't have full information. We can't see what's in Caleb's hand, but Caleb is one of the best players of all time. By the way, give him a stream follow as well. Caleb DMTG. If you have not followed, you're messing up. Fantastic player and just a great dude all around. But it's... Wait, Trevor? No, Trevor was banned, I believe.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. What were the 2-color shards back then? Cheons?
There weren't.
I don't think they had.
Yeah, they didn't have names.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
It was Dromar was blue, white, black.
Yeah, Dromar. Yeah.
And Treva was blue, white, green. Rith was red, white, green.
Right. Deed in response to casting Wall, which draws on the card, but it also means Wall cannot attack. Seems smart. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. Again, if Caleb made the play, it's the correct play. But this also means that there are no longer instant speed 1/1s when there was the opportunity to wipe all the opponent's 1/1s. That's why it just feels a little off.
Yeah,
to
the
me.
thought might be just blow it up for 0 and then try and get there with some 1/1s.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's. Do we still have the Cabal Therapy in Graveyard, right? Or is that done?
I think 2 have been exiled. I don't know if there is one on there. I haven't been tracking as well.
Well, Caleb's got to have a grip full of cards by now.
But does Louis have? Does he have another decree? I think he does.
Well, this game's flipping back again.
Well,
what a back and forth this has been. Oh my!
And I wonder if there's ever a situation where Louis is kind of interested. Like, it's very risky, but he could, in theory, like just tap out and decree and actually make angels from the spot.
That's true.
I don't know if it is something that is right or even that Louis would do, but it's something that you can consider.
Sometimes you got to risk it for the brisket. It takes 3 angels to get 12 damage to, although there's a blocker. But remember, Caleb's deck can't just go off in one turn with very little mana, and even around it can even go off around multiple mana leaks at this point, right?
Yes. Well, I mean, there's no Aluren in play, so. Well, there's one on the stack, but so some of the mana is being committed to cast this.
Right, but I'm saying even with that, you still have 6 mana left over.
Yes.
So it's a bit of a risky proposition. And that's part of the strength of this deck, is it doesn't require a ton of mana to go off. It just requires one really dope, strange templated Tempest card, which I'm not sure where they printed. But that's the kind of nature of this format, right? So, what are you looking for here if you lose? You just want straight up Counterspell, right?
Yeah, that's the cleanest way to get rid of it. Because, I mean, you could have a card like Disenchant, but then you're always going to be in a position where Caleb could combo off in response to that. So
that's right. Right. Again, Disenchant does not interrupt the Aluren very well, because there can be.
So you would, if you were to do it, if the traditional combo is just Raven Familiar and Cavern Harpy, you would respond to...
Wait, is this another... Is this Impulse into Impulse? Sorry to catch you.
You would need to respond to the Cavern Harpy being cast, but you can also, if you're like really keen Aluren players, will first cast the Cavern Harpy, and in response to its ability to return a creature, you pay 1 life to return it, so there's that trigger on the stack. So there's little things that Caleb can do with timing issues to get around these types
because
of
once
effects.
You return it, you can redo it and redo the cycle, and then once the previous cycle is interrupted, it does not affect you going off. Right, so yeah, we don't want Disenchant, we want a hard counter here. We don't want Dismantling Blow. Alright, I've said that before. We want a hard Disenchant. Oh my, that's a Raven's Familiar. Mini Impulse, let's go. That's the who's that poet that talked about the Raven? That's the Edgar Allan Caleb. We got Edgar. That's the new name. That's Edgar Allan Caleb from now on. All right, let's go.
So Living Wish, I guess. I mean, if you think this is just going to resolve, I don't know if you're just going for a card like Cavern Harpy.
Right, you just want to assemble the combo at this point, right? Because you don't need disruption. Yeah, this is oof. This is a tough state. Wow, this has been a great game. What a match. Good choice for this feature match. Yeah. What a back and forth. Louis goes to 2, then he's going to win, then his insurance plus, and then Caleb, through everything, is going to combo off, it looks like, to win. Hachi-machi. This is magic.
Yes, this is... I do like the Landstill deck. It kind of gives the opponent time to set up, and it does... like, really good players can play really well against the Landstill decks, and it's really fun to watch them navigate. So.
Well, think about how many paths Caleb has taken.
Yeah.
It's, he's playing the control deck, then it goes to beatdown, now he's going to combo. We're getting all 3, was it Spike, Timmy, something, Jimmy, or whatever, all these different archetypes with one deck. That's the flexibility of this deck, and that's the brilliance of Caleb as well, and the incredible play skill on display. Louis has also played this quite well and a fantastic player in his own right. Now, I would argue his advantage in this matchup, but Caleb's a master. There's a reason he created the Big Lebowski. And this is it. All right, let's see what we got going on here. What's popping off? So we're assembling the combo. We're drawing. We're doing the thing. We're Cavern Harpy for free. Raven Familiar for free. Edgar Allan Caleb. Herpa-derpa-derp.
So the Wirewood Savage is one of the key pieces. It's a piece in this combo. It's not even really necessary because if your life total is not pressured, but the Wirewood Savage just allows when a beast comes into play, you're able to draw a card. So instead of
paying the life for
you can just bounce the Cavern Harpy and draw the card. So.
Right, because it is not free, technically. It does cost a life per interaction. It's possible if you're low off, which he is not really here.
Yeah, typically what would happen is you use the Raven Familiar to try and find 3 cards deep at a time, and then you find Soul Warden and go infinite, or you find Wirewood Savage or something. So this situation... Caleb's demonstrated that he can draw an unbound amount of cards if he wants. He showed Gaia's Blessing. If that's going to resolve, then he's able to put back a win condition.
Right, his draw X...
the Stroke of Genius.
Stroke of Genius, for example, and just stroke him out. Well done. Wow.
So, yes.
Fantastic first game. I don't think we could have possibly asked for a better first game in this. That was... just an incredible display of magic all around, and it got to showcase so many dope cards that people don't get to be seeing, because that's kind of what this format's all. Oh, we got something going. They sent us a message. Okay, everyone's at 1-1 except for the Evans match.
Oh, okay, we get updates on the quarter match.
Go ahead.
I thought he was trying to write a message. I thought something said something about my mom or something on there.
Well, if it wasn't for her, you wouldn't be here. So shout out to Mikey's mom. Thank you very much. Good job. You did a great job on him, and because of her, this is all possible. Yeah, if it wasn't for your mom, we wouldn't have been able to stream this.
All right, we do have a result. So it was. I'm trying to find our. I don't know if we had a bracket, but it was.
I think BK took that.
Okay, this one might be an older one.
Yeah,
so
I think BK has it somewhere.
Well, so at least one of the matches of the quarterfinals has ended, but we're going to cover this.
The point is, everyone's at 1-1. Yeah, that's what we know, except for Caleb and Louis.
Yes.
Everyone else is tied up. So that's one way or the other. Yeah. That's the truth of it. Okay, so what are we looking to sideboard here for both these players?
So I know I looked at Caleb's deck. I know I typed it in, and a lot of his sideboard is devoted to the Living Wish package. So there's not a lot of cards he can bring in. I think he has 11 or 12 different cards in his sideboard, so most of them are cards he's just going to get with Living Wish. I think he had 2 Engineered Plague, which is not typically a card you want to bring in.
Oh, you can take out the soldiers. It's not dead.
It's not an angle I like to fight. It is something you can do.
It's not dead. That's an understated card against Landstill that I think people misunderstand, because sometimes that win con is all you need, or knocking down the creature lands or something, but that's not what we're doing here. It's definitely not appropriate for this matchup.
And I can't remember what the other card that he's looking to sideboard. Right now, we are making sure that he is taking the cards that he brought in from Living Wish back into his sideboard.
Wow, a rare piece of revealed information. Caleb showed Louis he's taking out a Cavern Harpy and...
Well, he's just resetting, because the Living Wish brought those into the deck. He's making sure that they go back to the sideboard where they were. So it's not really...
Well, he's showing Louis he's not cheating.
Yes.
So there's that.
So
I guess it's not cheating to use sideboard if you want to.
It is really awkward with the wishes sometimes, that if you aren't real attentive to bring those in. I guess I don't know if it was intentional, but when the wishes are removed from game, to me, that's my reminder. When I see like that card at the end of the
yeah.
game, it's like, okay, this is a reminder that I need to put the card I wish for.
That's
back.
a great point.
But
so what about Louis? What are we looking for? A little more counter magic?
So Louis's sideboard, he has 3 Annuls, so that's a card that can target the Aluren for a cheap interaction.
Pretty good.
I think he has 3 copies of Phyrexian Furnace, which is a card I think he had thought about because Louis had played Aluren earlier in the day. It's not the most effective way of fighting because Caleb isn't really a graveyard deck, but it would potentially target the Cabal Therapy, which is a big card in this matchup.
Phyrexian Furnace is, we'll pull it up. It's a 1-mana artifact that can replace itself. Here we go. You tap it, remove the bottom target. It's also weirdly, I don't know why it's templated that, remove the bottom card of target player's graveyard from the game, and you can pay 1 to sacrifice at any time to remove a Cabal Therapy from someone's graveyard.
Well, it's kind of like you're dropping things into the furnace, so like the things at the bottom, I don't know, some conveyor belt or something.
Sure. So they're getting heated before getting meated. That makes sense.
So,
that's fair.
Yeah, the other cards he has in his sideboard, so I'm trying to remember. I mean, he's got a Circle Protection Red, which isn't going to be something that he wants. He has a Dust Bowl, which is potentially something he wants. If
Disenchant?
He does not have an extra Disenchant. He has some Powder Kegs, but that isn't the best way of fighting because it doesn't get rid of enchantments.
No.
And so, like, yes, Caleb does have creatures in his deck, but like Powder Keg is not the way to fight it. And then I can't remember what the other cards are, but I think Annul is probably the big.
Yeah, Annul's big play here, and also it turns out Pernicious Seed was amazing in this matchup, as we didn't expect that when we first were talking about it at the beginning of this. But it turns out okay, so now we're starting up again. Caleb Durward against Louis Kaplan in arguably the greatest tournament of all time. This is the Premodern Misty Mountain Buck, and Louis is on the play. He lost game 1. But starting anew, he got the Annuls coming through, so we're going to see if we can get shuffled, get ruffled, and be ready for another great matchup. But that first game was amazing. If you're coming in late, let me tell you something. This channel allows for you to view videos afterwards, even if you're not subbed. You should sub, just support this great channel. But go back and rewatch it. And even if you did see it, you want to rewatch it again. There was some masterful playing on both sides, and you really get to see Caleb shine. There's a reason he, along with yours truly, is the consistent Cube for Charity winner against Jim Davis and all of his mavens. So let's see what's going on here. They're tapping the table again. Want to shake the camera. Let us know they got the power for the hour. Okay. Let's see. Is Caleb going to tap the table back? Nope. Just shuffling. Makes sense. Keep it.
They might be doing Morse code. Maybe they're just trying to say
That's
something.
That's right. And again, beautiful sleeves for Caleb. The double dragon taking me back.
I don't know. I really like Louis's sleeves.
Just the straight blue.
So all my pre-modern decks are just in those colors, so that way I can switch around cards and not do it. So
that's awesome. Is there a reason that particular blue was chosen?
It was I came to literally this store one time and I looked at the Ultra Pro Eclipse, or I think it's Ultra Pro, and I just liked the color. So
yeah, absolutely. Yep. And it's cheaper than the Grim Reaper. I like it. Okay, shaking the camera again, ready to roll. Louis is on the play, drawn 7, no mulls for now. Caleb, let's see. Oh, we got a Sylvan Library. Is that a 4th edition Sylvan Library?
That was so that's the other 2.
That's
2 copies
fantastic.
Of Sylvan Library. So definitely
Hachi-machi.
Yeah, that's definitely the most impactful card that Caleb can bring in, because it's a card against the deck that doesn't pressure your life total, that you can exchange life for cards. Very important for Caleb.
Yeah, that's bang, bang, bang in the chicken wing. We're going to give that 3 bangs in the chicken wing. It is... it is just fantastic. There we go. It is just fantastic. It also has a lot of words and it's kind of complicated, especially its initial iteration. But basically, you get to look at extra cards, and if you want, you can pay for life to draw them.
Yeah, I'll bring up
there we
the
go.
5th edition one. Maybe that's
probably
a little
the best
bit better,
version.
but
Yeah. Okay, so again, the mana in this format is atrocious because of the nature of it, but it does... Oh, we missed the... Oh my. So Caleb's tight on land here, so he's got to play into it with the Sylvan, and he's got to crack it sooner than later anyway, and it's probably better to do it now when you're forcing the discard and it's not as much raw card advantage, and the earlier the... Oh! That's a Dismantling Blow!
For the alternate casting cost.
For the alternate casting, technically that card can be cast for 3 mana. Now, what did that cost Caleb? Well, it cost him his next land drop. It cost him a bunch of extra cards, and never mind, he had the land drop, and it cost him a Gemstone Mine counter. That was huge. Okay, so the Raven Familiar, which if it wants to stick around, that's going to bink that last counter on the Gemstone Man. Hachi-machi.
Yeah, I don't think he's looking to pay the Echo. I think this was kind of an opportunity for him because he is short on lands that he's just trying to dig for those for future
That's
turns.
a tough spot to be, but it might mean that his hand is gas. He's also got one of the best lands in the format. Can we pull that land up?
You want the Phyrexian Tower?
Yeah, Phyrexian Buck.
Yeah, so since Caleb does have a number of creatures, he's able to kind of convert those into the mana with this card.
Well, not only that, it's 2 black mana, and again, there's double, there's the mana in this format's really tough. Mm-hmm. This is one of another Standstill. Oh wow! Oh, he's paying it. All right, the 1/2 could go all the way.
Okay, so that's I guess surprised me that he's willing to get rid of the Gemstone Mine just to pay the Echo on the River Familiar.
Why?
I guess I was thinking that, I mean, I guess the game, yeah, I guess it makes sense since Standstill was played. I guess without the Standstill, that would have surprised me, but might as well keep your board pressure you have since...
Well, now he's the beatdown.
Yeah.
Right. And if nothing changes, no manlands are drawn, Caleb will just win this, or force Louis to crack his scan. So now it's more likely we're going to see a 2-1 or a 2-2 land from Louis sooner or later, or a Cycle Decree of Justice, which gets around the Standstill. But at this point, that Raven Familiar is ruling the roost.
Yes. And these are the kind of situations that I kind of admire. Ooh. That like when like a 1 power flyer.
That's right.
Kind of like this.
That's right.
This is a threat, and like because the game is going to expect it to keep going for so many turns.
That's right, and that's also a shout out to this particular format, which allows one of the best parts of Magic to a lot of people, which is interaction. Yeah. Oh, there's the Cycle Decree. We saw it. Okay, so now Caleb. Although again, the flyer being a 1/2. That extra little toughness is so relevant here. That being said, that's not really where you want to be. You don't want to have to be blocking with. You don't want to have to be in this back and forth draw go because 1, Lewis's deck has a lot more lands and they're going to be more consistently hitting him. And 2, he's also got other decrees to cycle. 3, there's manlands to be played that can also just beat down that have 2 toughness. Although, Louis is...
Lewis does have more lands in his deck, but they're not in his hand.
They're not in his hand and they're not in play.
So
okay.
He's willing to play the Standstill game. I mean, like, this is aptly named where they're just going to play draw go. And neither player is willing to break the Standstill.
And he drew a decree, which he might be thinking about cycling right now to hit the land. He is not. He discards. Oh, he did bring in Disenchant. Okay, so he does have Disenchant. Did bring it in.
There was one in the main.
There's one in the main.
There's a split between the two, yeah.
Gotcha.
Did you guys get these results when I put them up?
Yeah, we kind of saw it. So we got BK in the booth, so...
Shout out to Brian Cole, Misty Mountain Games.
Do we know what decks these players were on?
Red and red.
So the red decks are victorious.
Red deck wins beat goblins, and red deck wins beat stasis.
Oh, okay. All right.
So Sly, my guy, and I said that to BK when he explains to me. I said Sly is gotta be one of the best decks by far.
Yes, it's very consistent and ever present in this.
Well, not only that, this is a format where you're taking damage consistently off your land, right? Mm-hmm. Where you have fetch lands, you have pain lands. Okay, so now
we've added the board with another Decree of Justice that cycled. I think it's possible that like Lewis was just thinking like I need more lands.
He needs the lands, right?
And he's willing to trade. Is this 1 creature for 5 damage?
That's interesting. Now, what is pressuring Caleb's life at this point in the game do? Because with 5 creatures, so 5, 4, 3, so you're not able to actually kill off of this it is.
Well, it does open up opportunities to draw cards like Mishra's Factory and Faerie Conclave. Or, I mean, like, one thing Lewis does have in his sideboard is he does have the 4th Decree of Justice, so 3 is the typical amount that he plays.
Gotcha.
It's possible he's brought in the 4th Decree and he's using it a little more liberally than trying to just draw into another Decree.
Well, and also, I mean, at the end of the day... Oh my, okay. Well, Caleb feels the pressure, and he's got to see what's cracking. So we are playing Cabal Ritual, or Cabal Therapy, looking at the... What do we think he names here?
So, it's probably some sort of counterspell, I think is the most likely name. In response, like it looks like Lewis is going to use a source of Plowshares to get
So
rid.
Why does he do that here so that he can't sack it for the next? So he has to interrupt the process now because he will not get another opportunity to use that, and that's a really heads-up play by Lewis. Well played. Oh my! Speaking of counterspells.
Yes. Well, so yeah, Lewis has had 2 Mana Leak and 3 annuls. So
Oh my.
this is the awkward situation where now that Caleb knows about the annuls, that he kind of can play around it and get to a spot where like he has Cabal Therapy and he can easily like 3 for 1.
Oh my.
So how do you prioritize like? If you're going to counter a Birds of Paradise, are you just going to counter every single creature that Caleb plays?
It has to be, right? Although, what if he has another 1 casting cost creature?
Yeah.
And also, not only that, but if you do that, you're Cabal Theraping yourself.
Yeah.
In essence,
Yep.
without enough. But that's the thing. That's such a heads-up play by Caleb for this. So he pays the first one. He has to use the second one.
Yep. So 2 mana leaks are spent just.
But he does have another one. Oh, and it's gonna be a Veteran Explorer. It's gonna be a Veteran Explorer. I'm calling it right now.
I think I did see that in his hands.
The old bird bait. Okay. We're in business. Hachi Machi. That's a Tachi. Okay, let's go.
Well, one thing to note is like if this game does continue on, like Louis does he does use his mana better than Caleb does. So like it's not
Correct.
at no cost that like putting these lands into play for Louis.
Except that Veteran Explorer makes him come to play untapped.
Yet that's kind of a big deal for Louis right now is he will be able to deploy like an Impulse or an Annul.
Right. That's brilliant. What a great line by Caleb. Fantastic. And yeah, Veteran Explorer's template kind of weird, but I guess you got to get the advantage. Like, you know, I don't know. It's kind of a very strange card in a lot of ways, as far as how it's templated. Because normally when you put lands into play, but back in Weatherlight they didn't have that kind of heads up.
Yeah.
You know. Although Rampant Growth was Mirage. I don't know. Anyway.
So in this situation, like Caleb's still under a good amount of pressure. There's still 5 tokens into play, and so with Louis being able to untap and probably add this Mishra's Factory to the board, Caleb is kind of on a short clock to kind of do something.
Except Caleb's been setting up his hand this whole time.
Yeah, he does.
And
still
Caleb
have
has a
bunch of
grip
cards.
full of
Yes.
cards, and he has 2 green mana. You know what that means?
Yes.
He's probably casting Aluren next turn. He's probably just winning in 1 turn because he knows the coast is clear. All right, did Louis top deck anything relevant? Louis being a nice guy, big Papa Bear, allowing Caleb to see his hand. The cards have been revealed. Let's go. 4 mana enchantment. Come on, baby. Come on, you too near me not to hear me. Let's go. All right, we're starting off with the Deed. Oh, wow. Now, Deed not only can wipe out all of the 1/1s, it can also knock down that 2/2 if it were to activate. Just an all-around great card. He kept the Deed in. What do you make of that?
I think I do like it. I mean, it's a card that I think it answers threats, and it's kind of something that Louis actually does care about. So he's in response.
Oh, Factor Fiction response.
Well,
Ooh.
the annuls are still in Louis's hand, right? Or
No, they got named with Cabal Therapy
okay.
on the
I was
previous
gonna
turn.
say that seems like an easy card that I would use against Pernicious Deed. So, all right.
Yep. So also Factor Fiction, probably one of the best cards for this, one of the most skill-intensive, fun, interesting, interactive cards you could think of, and a perfect card for this format because of the power level. One other thing I really like about Premodern, what do you think the average games go to? Like, how many turns in the average game?
I mean, it does have its share of like games that do end around like turn 4 or 5, but like a lot more of the games just have these drawn out battles where you're able to kind of like set up a game plan and pick your spots and have this like turn 12 kind of like it's not always like a counter war, but it's like we're fighting over these spells that we care about. And I don't know exactly how often or how long the games on average go, but it's definitely longer than what our modern day Magic is. So.
He took the humility, took the 2. It's the old 2-3 split. I'm a big fan of the 4-1 split. Just like to put people on edge. So that was an interesting split. That was an interesting take. And Caleb looks like he's this. You know what this game reminds me? You can see Louis is putting his hand in his head. He's thinking, what is going on here? What do I do? How can I get those last little points of damage? Caleb's only at 7. Do I activate the Mishras and make him crack the Deed here so my humility can land?
I can't imagine that you need like. Are the 5
Wow,
creatures that
he went for it. Hachi Machi, sacrificing the Mishra's Factory with humility in hand and Wrath of God? What do you make of this?
I guess I'm confused why Louis felt like he needed to commit the Mishra's Factory as well.
Why indeed? He has another one. He has a backup. I guess I guess you only need one, technically. And I guess Louis feels he's safe. Oh, he had the backup deed! He had the backup deed. This is like that meme online with the astronaut looking at the moon. You know, it was done. Caleb won the whole thing. He had to,
It was deed the whole time.
It was deed the whole time. Oh, man. What a play. What a play. Wow. That Caleb is just he's just setting it up. This is such chess magic right now, and Louis is playing fine as well. But it turns out Caleb was the control deck the whole time.
Yeah, he's
and
definitely drawing the deeds is definitely has been pretty good for him. That is a new Mishra's Factory, unless they backed up. I'm not sure.
I believe he had a new. Oh, okay. Someone's asking. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that's a new one. Yep.
Oh, did I say deed? I meant Mishra's Factory. But...
Right. Well, both, right?
Yeah, well, that's true.
Now, can you tell us about the art behind these Mishra's Factories? There are 4 seasonals.
Yes.
You chose?
I chose the cheapest one.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
The natural black border one. I do not like 4th edition, the frames, the skinny little white borders. And so when I got the black
Wait, was
ones,
that an EOT? Does he had 5 or... Sorry to interrupt. Does he had 5 or does he had 7? Or at 6 or 7? Was that an EOT deed or did he do it in combat?
I think he did it in combat. I think their life totals, they've not been very diligent about it. It's possible that I have the life totals wrong. But
okay, let's go. All right, let's go.
So here...
It is time to win.
Yeah, Caleb's happy to pay for this mana leak. And
that's game?
Yeah, I think unless Louis has
that is amazing.
I see a Raven Familiar, but I think Caleb has set up this position so that he can combo off.
Brilliant. Brilliant. This is great magic. Again, if you did not see this from the jump, you're going to want to rewatch it. Because Hachimachi Station Tashi, this is absolutely fantastic. And being able to knock out all those annuls in one hit. The power of Cabal Therapy. The power of Pernicious Deed. And this is actually, it's interesting because the Rock was one of the top locks, right? People love the Rock, which has those, but does not have the combo element, hey?
Right.
Okay, so we need a Harpy here, right? That's what we're looking for to finally go off. Still searching. That looked like a multicolored card. Is that a multicolored? Oh, there we go. All right.
Yep.
Bang, bang, bang in the chicken wing. Caleb D is the place to be. Now, again, we thought Landstill was favored here, but as it turns out, it was Caleb's time.
Yep. And so
nice job.
We do have the concession from Louis, so
2-0.
Yep. Caleb will advance.
Wow.
After a well-played match.
Fantastic.
Really
Great magic.
Fight. Cabal Therapy allows you to is a powerful tool against the blue-white deck when you have something that they really care about. So if they have to hold up counter magic because they're afraid of Aluren,
that's right.
Cabal Therapy is a great way to kind of position yourself to get rid of that counter magic.
And that was after multiple Landstills. Mm-hmm. And not all. I mean, the other thing about Cabal Therapy is just getting the information. Knowing the coast is clear, knowing that Rat's in hand is so helpful. But yeah, that was just fantastic magic all the way around, really well played. And you just see the synergies of this deck coming together where your Veteran Explorer, and again, baited with the birds, right? Mm-hmm. Because imagine if that goes the other way, right? The birds lands, and it's the Veteran Explorer.
Yeah.
That, although I guess it couldn't have counted it, right? Because the bird lands, then he rips the hand with the Cabal Therapy and takes out the 2.
Okay. Yeah.
So I guess it's either way. But then he couldn't sack the Veteran Explorer to Cabal Therapy, but he still had the land to sack it. So I guess Caleb just had it either way. But man, what a fantastic, fantastic game. That was amazing.
So I'm going to check to see where we're at for the rest of the matches. I'm going to guess that they're done, but
yeah.
I'm going to see if maybe we can move someone into the feature match.
Okay, well, I'll just chill here for a bit.
I'll be right back.
Wow, what a great thing. And again, big shout out to the Cloud Goat Ranger who set this up, aka Mikey. It's like riding a bikey. This is just wonderful display of magic. It's a competitive but friendly and amazing decks and stuff you're not going to get to see. You're really not going to get to see this stuff very much, but again, Caleb D taking it down in 2 games against Louis Kaplan, 2 great Madison players, 2 pro players, but Caleb, one of the best to ever do it, and also great streamer, part-time dreamer. All right, so let's see. Let's chat with the chat for a bit. Chat, how you feeling? I'm gonna pull your stuff up. What are you thinking? What's the reason for this season? Are you enjoying this as much as we are? Premodern is a great format. Who else is in the top 8? Good question. They took. Let's see. Okay, we got. They took the list, but I have this one. We got Clipple, and I can't read this because it got scratched off. But Evan's lost, and I don't have the other one. You love Aluren. What are the top 8 decks? We have 2 Sly decks in the top 8. We have Aluren, and we have a mystery deck that we're just going to find out about. Premodern is absolutely fantastic. Hell yeah, absolutely. We're going to get the rest of that information for you all soon.
Okay, so all our quarterfinal matches have finished. So we are going to get things set up for the semifinals. So we're going to take
and real quick, what are the decks? So 2 Slys, Aluren, and
the decks that advance. We have Aluren. We have
Sly, or red deck wins.
Yeah, so 2 red decks and Stasis. That's what our
Stasis. Ooh, you are in for some wild magic.
All right, so thanks for joining me again, JBro, and we're going to take a quick break as we get things set up for the semifinals. It's not going to be long since we have everyone done. So
yeah, knuck if you buck, y'all.
All right.